I think I just saved Tower of Fantasy. You're welcome, guys. And Hikari. So 12 days ago, I did a video titled I Killed Tower of Fantasy. And I almost did. I was this close to bringing about a premature end to the MMO before it had even launched. How? I had covered the character creator. I showcased each and every feature that was available to players. The massive variety of clothing options, the gargantuan selection of hairstyles, and the teeny tiny little option that allows you to substantially alter the most important aspect of any customized character, their personality. You cannot have a character in a game without a personality that is larger than life, right? Before we go any further, I just want to take a moment here to thank all of the absolute chads and chadettes that support this channel via Patreon. You're all freaking legends. Seriously, each and every single one of you. I would offer to give each of you a kiss, but I suffer from severe intimacy issues. Additionally, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest MMO gacha and gaming news, take a second here to follow MRSSTIX and I over on Twitter. We tweet daily. So I covered the colossal personality options for our characters during the first closed beta test. And, well, after bringing this to the attention of hundreds of thousands of potential players, the devs behind Tower of Fantasy decided that they were going to punish all of us men, all of us women, Hikari, people that possessed a modicum of culture by removing that slider from the second closed beta test. This was our punishment for being such detestable degenerates. Naturally, I felt horrible after being directly responsible for the removal of such an integral part of the game. So I proceeded to make a dedicated video apologizing for the dastardly act that I had engaged in. I admitted to understanding that I had great power, yet not realizing that I had responsibility that accompanied said power. I grew up without a cool uncle to impart that knowledge unto me, unfortunately. Now, that video is sitting at almost 60,000 views so far and is filled with almost 700 comments, most of which are bemoaning the situation, claiming that it is impossible for them to 1, play the game now, because 2, they can't enjoy a game that inhibits their ability to customize their characters' monumental personality. Censorship is something that we should never support in any game, as it sets a precedent for any game that engages in it. Now, after watching my video and seeing our degenerate army rally behind me, the overlord of degeneracy, the Tower of Fantasy devs felt threatened, like the end might be near. They needed to act fast. They could not afford to lose the support of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of potential players. Even more with the continued spread of the video leading up to the launch of the game. Now, one member of our loyal Booba resistance decided to take things into their own hands and approach the devs themselves, stating, "In the advertisement of Tower of Fantasy, it is possible to adjust the chest circumference, but I didn't have it at the time of the closed beta test. It's okay to think that it can be done at the time of release." Now, I've made the mistake in the past of using Twitter's inbuilt translator when it was specifically pertaining to the console release of the game. Not this time. Your boy here learns from his mistakes. This time, I decided I was also going to run it through DeepL. DeepL goes to state, "The ad for the Phantom Tower, Tower of Fantasy, says you can adjust your chest circumference, but it wasn't there during the closed beta test. It's safe to assume that we'll be able to do that when it's released." Now, the official response to this when translated using Twitter was, "Thank you for your advice. Please be assured that this will be added at the time of the official release." Again, I made very certain here to not use just the built-in translator. I decided to once again use DeepL as well. This went on to state, "Thank you for pointing this out. Please be assured that this will be added at the time of official release." Every single translator that I have run this through has confirmed the exact same thing. When Tower of Fantasy officially releases, it is going to have the booba slider included. Yes, the tens, the hundreds of thousands of us, and Hikari, that were going to be unable to play the game due to such strict censorship are saved. You're welcome. See, I may have been responsible for almost killing the game, but now, in our time of peril, our greatest time of need, I have come through, I have prevailed, and I have single-handedly saved the game. Stop. No, it's okay. I don't need applause. Some might call me a hero, but at the end of the day, I'm just like you. Someone with a deep appreciation for tremendous personalities. Now, for those of you without a sense of humor, my original video on this and this video as well are complete and utter satire. It's unfortunate that I have to explain this, but that's the state of the world, it's the state of the internet, it's the state of humor. Yes, they have promised to re-implement the booba sliders into the game at launch. It's unconfirmed why specifically it was removed and ultimately why it was restored, but that is why we have a platform like this, like YouTube, like Twitter, to make sure players, you guys in specific, are kept abreast of unscrupulous decisions and situations like this, so we can make sure that change in the direction and the form that we want happens. I'm excited to play the global release of this game. Tower of Fantasy has its flaws just like any other. Areas they need to improve on. They've a history of making terrible mistakes that I have documented, but at the same time, I'm a fan of good games, I'm a fan of bad games, games that are just fun, which is what this game is. Remember, at the end of the day, you are fully capable of enjoying a game while simultaneously criticizing it. I criticize WoW all the time, but it is still arguably one of the most enjoyable MMOs to me. At the end of the day, people just have this weird obsession with creating their own narrative to justify the unwarranted hate of something or someone. In this case, creating a false narrative where I hate Tower of Fantasy and that I don't want it to succeed. Oh no, STIX did a negative video on Tower of Fantasy. Let's completely disregard the 10 positive videos that he did and just claim that he wants to ruin it. That's just not true. MRSSSTIX loves this game to death. She played it for probably 2, maybe 3 times the amount that I played it during its first closed beta test, the global beta. And we both genuinely had fun streaming it. It's a goddamn fun anime MMO, and there really aren't many of those right now. And admittedly, we are going to be streaming it when it launches. Why? Because it's a goddamn fun anime MMO and there aren't many of those right now. With this in mind, if you haven't already, don't forget to go ahead and pre-register for the global launch, because we'll see you there.